Hey everybody, welcome once again. Thank you for joining me. This is Dustin Nulf with Keller Williams Realty's the Dustin Nulf team and Full House LLC Pittsburgh Property Management. Today we're going to look at how you as a new real estate agent can bring in $100,000 in commission your first year. And we're going to look at net commission income, not gross commission income. There's a big difference there. We're going to talk about that very shortly. Thanks for joining us. So before we get started, please like this video. I'd really appreciate it. If you like the content, subscribe to this station or this channel and hit the bell notification to get notified for new videos as I post them. I've been posting 3 or 4 videos a week, so please stay tuned. I do real estate sales coaching, do real estate investing coaching, property management advice, and we talk about wealth building as well. So again, thank you for joining me. Check out the links below this video. I have links to my Patreon site. I do real estate coaching for sales agents at only $10 a month. You get free content such as downloadable expired mailers that we send out every day. You can get a copy of that. You can go in and just change the template, put your information in there. For sale by owner contract, we do a 0% commission for sale by owner contract to get our foot in the door with for sale by owners. We've given that away for free already as well. So if you want to subscribe at $10 a month, you get that content and you get extra videos that you're not going to see on YouTube. $100 a month level will get you team building coaching, and $1,000 a month is going to get you personal one-on-one coaching with me, either on real estate sales, team building, or real estate investing. All right, that's the sales pitch for today. Thank you for joining me. So real estate agents, let's make $100,000 our first year. If anybody tells you you can't do that, don't believe them. All right. I am a strong believer in mindset, and the first thing that you need to be successful is a mindset that you can do this despite what anybody else says. So don't believe somebody who says that you can't do $100,000 in your first year. Our best agent on our team netted about $70,000 in his first year, and that was, I don't even think he was here a full year when he netted that, and that was just, focus, that was mindset, that was focus, and that was having a goal and sticking to it. So let's take a look. We're going to take a look at how the numbers play out, okay? So sales is a numbers game. If you know your numbers, all you have to do to beat the numbers game is to hit your numbers. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, all right? So we're going to kind of work backwards. I'm going to do this just like I do with a new agent. We're gonna look at a goal of netting $100,000 in the first year. I'm a Keller Williams agent, so we're gonna look at doing that with a cap. If you don't have a cap, let's say you're on a 50-50 split, then you're gonna have to calculate a little bit differently from the start, and I'll show you that real briefly here. Okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna start with $100,000. We're going to start with $100,000 and work backwards from there to figure out what we need to gross first, okay? So that's our big goal. We want to net $100,000, all right? If you're an agent on a team, or if you're working for an old school broker who's on a 50-50 split, then let's 50-50, right? If you're going to take that home, you need to bring in 200, right? So just multiply that by 2, and you need to gross $200,000 if you're on a team or if you're on a 50-50 split with an old school broker, all right? I'm going to show you Keller Williams model as well. So if you're doing EXP, Exit Realty, or any of these companies where there's a cap, or like RE/MAX has, like, you can estimate like roughly what you're going to pay in a year. We're going to look at that now. So my cap here at Keller Williams is $24,000. So being on a full cap or being a full cap agent, I'm going to use 24 grand. So I need to gross $124,000 if I'm going to bring home $100,000. That's GCI. So GCI in the Keller Williams world, and actually it's being more accepted everywhere else, gross commission income. GCI means gross commission income. All right, so I'm going to assume that your commission rate is about 3%. So if you look at like the national average, it's around 3% is a commission rate per side. Okay, so if you're a listing agent, you might get a listing that says 6%, but if you only get the listing side, you're getting 3%, you're giving 3 away to the buyer's agent, right? So we're going to assume that it's 3%. It may be different in your area. So I worked with an agent in Newport Beach, California for a little while, and the commission out there was like 2 to 2.5% per side because the average sale price was so high. So in Pittsburgh, it's like around 3. Even in the lower price properties, sometimes we're like it's between 7 and 10% for like the gross commission. So you might see 3.5 to 5%. So we're going to look at 3% though. So we're going to take 124,000 and divide that by 3%. So we're going to divide this by 3. And that's going to give us the amount of the volume that we need to close in order to make that money. All right, so that's 4.13. We're just going to call it 4.13 million. Something like that. 4.13 million. That's our volume. All right. Now we're going to divide our volume by our average sale price because we want to know how many properties we're going to sell in order to do this. So 4.13300, divide that. We're going to divide it by 200,000 because the Pittsburgh average sale price is around $200,000 right now. Our team is only averaging like 165,000, which is above the median, but it's below the average. So our goal this year is to get closer to or exceed the average sale price. So we're going to divide by 200,000. That's our average sale price. That's why we're dividing by that. So we're going to say average sale price in Pittsburgh, 200,000. We're going to divide by that. And that's going to give us 20.665 units closed. We're just going to call that 21 units closed. So we need to close 21 units to bring home $124,000 gross commission income, which will be $100,000 net commission income. Sound good? Got it so far? Hit the like button if you got it so far. Thanks. So this is the important number actually. So those are kind of important numbers, but this is the most important number because if you focus on this and you keep your average sale price, you're going to hit your numbers. So this is our important number, and we're going to save it, and we're going to remember it. We're going to erase this and bring it right back up to the top. All right, 21 units. So in order for us to close 21 units, we're going to look at the market that we're in right now. In Pittsburgh, we're still in a seller's market, although I think the market is shifting. The stock market has just crashed. There's some scary stuff going on. You can see the high end of the market starting to ease up a bit. It's getting squishier. So I believe that we may be in for a market shift. However, we'll only know after like January. Like we'll see how the stock market looks in January. It could have been that stock market hit record highs this year. Everybody could be selling their stocks off so they can claim their taxes and claim their profit and loss and everything. They might just buy back in January. We'll see. They could just start buying real estate in January also. Let's see what happens. So based on the current market, we're only going to be selling about 75% of the deals that we put under contract. So what that means is if you put 100 deals under contract, 25 of them are going to flake out. The buyers are going to flake out and disappear. They're going to decide they're not going to buy. They're going to end up firing you because they don't like you. You're going to end up firing them, whatever. The sellers, they might not sell their house at all. They don't want to do a price reduction. They don't want to listen to you. They don't want to stage it. They're not listening to you. It's not going to sell. Okay, so 25% of your deals are not going to sell right now in this market. if it shifts into a buyer's market, you want to say 50% of your deals aren't going to sell, because you want to really, you know, conservative. You want to have conservative estimates. But right now we're going to say 75% of our deals aren't going to sell. So we're going to take 21 and divide it by 75%, because we want to find out how many units we need to actually put under contract in order to close 21. And we have to put, so divided by 75%, we have to put 28 deals under contract to close 21. 28. We're going to say 28 under contract, or 28 contracts. In order for us to put 28 people under contract to work with us, we're going to need to meet with twice as many people in appointments. So we want to get twice as many face-to-face appointments in order to get that many people to work with us. So we take 28 and multiply by 2. Now you might think that that sounds crazy, but as a new agent or a newer agent, until you've mastered your scripts and your presentations, your listing presentation or your buyer's consultation, you're going to run 50% or less conversion rate. You need to get good at those, and the only way to get good at those is, number one, you practice your scripts and you practice your presentations, and then number two is you actually freaking do them. Like, you have appointments, you got to get appointments and practice them on real people. Okay, so stop sitting around watching YouTube videos all the time. You can watch all of my YouTube videos, but you don't want to watch too many YouTube videos, because you need to take action in order to hit your goals. Watching YouTube videos is great, but you need to take action on what you learned. Go out there and practice what you learned, okay? But keep watching, because we're not done yet. So 28 under contract. We need to double that in order, as far as appointments go. So we're going to multiply that by 2. And that means 56 appointments. We need to go on 56 appointments in order to close that many units. 56 appointments. Now there's 52 work weeks in the year. If you take 2 weeks off for vacation, if you're like a normal human being who only gets like 1 or 2 weeks off for vacation, and you actually do that, then like this is almost 1 appointment a week is what that amounts to. Now, don't be the typical real estate agent who thinks that like you need to be partying before you're making money. Like, you need to make money and earn your freedom before you get freedom. All right? And in order to earn our freedom, we need to hit our numbers. If you're hitting your numbers, then you earn your freedom. So 56 appointments, we're going to divide that by 50, because we're going to take 2 weeks off and we're going to work 50 weeks in the year. So every week we need to do 1.12 appointments. Weeks. 1.12 appointments per week. 1.12 appointments per week. Okay, so you can't go on 0.12 appointments. So what we can do, I always like to prepare for the worst case scenario, right? So what if I did 2 appointments per week? What if I made my goal 2 appointments per week? Then I'd probably get, 1 week I might get 1, the next week I might get 2. The next week I might get 1, the next week I might get 3. Okay, so I would make my goal 2 appointments per week, because it's going to allow me to overshoot the target. If I overshoot the target, I'm going to hit higher, I'm going to hit a higher goal, right? So we're going to round this up. We're going to call that 2 appointments per week. Okay, so we're going to target 2 appointments per week. Now, we're going to move that up to the top too, because that's our other important number. 21 units, 2 appointments per week. Okay, 2 appointments per week. We got that up top. Now we're deleting the rest of this stuff. How do you get 2 appointments per week? What are the stats? If you're a real estate or Keller Williams real estate agent and you've attended Bold, you know that you need to talk to roughly 40 people, okay? 40 people that you do not know, 40 random individuals in order to get one appointment, okay? It can be better than that, but we're going to use worst case scenario numbers, because if you overshoot your target, overshoot your goal, you're going to hit a bigger goal. So we're going to say if you want 2 appointments per week, you have to talk to 40 people per appointment. That's 80 people in a week. And I call those connects or connections. You need to talk with somebody. Talk with somebody. Talk with somebody. Okay? Going like this, that's not talking, that's texting. Okay? Texting doesn't count. Human interaction verbally, face to face or on the phone, or door knocking, or open houses, or whatever. You need to talk to somebody. So 80 people per week you got to talk to. Okay? How many is that per day? If we're only working 5 days a week, 80 divided by 5. $16 people per day. How long would it take you to talk to 16 people per day? Shouldn't take that long. We're gonna look at what it breaks down hours wise, or day, what your day should look like. But you need to talk to 16 people per week, and that's kind of it. Like, there's your numbers, right? So in order for you to net $100,000 your first year, if your average sale price is $200,000, you need to close 21 units, which means you need to get 2 appointments per week, and you need to talk to 16 people per day in order to get those appointments. Now, like scripts, totally different thing. We're going to look at some of those later. So follow my channel if you want to see, how to convert. But the whole idea is that you're not just talking to people like, say, hey, how you doing? How was your day? Oh, that's fantastic. Great talking with you. Have a nice life. Like, you need to ask for appointments when you talk to people. When you talk to people, you're always going to ask for an appointment. You're going to ask who they know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. You really could use their help. That's the main thing you're going to ask. And then you're going to get an appointment. You want to get an appointment where you're meeting them at their house that they want to sell, or you're meeting them in your office, or you're meeting them at a coffee shop near wherever they're working or looking to buy. And you're going to give them a professional presentation and ask them to work with you. So the whole idea is that you ask them for an appointment, and then you ask them to work with you. All right? So we're going to look at what that amounts to in hours. Okay, 16 people. Let's say we have a 10-minute conversation with each of those 16 people. So 16 times 10, that's 160 minutes. So 160 minutes in a day talking to people and asking them for appointments and asking them for business. That's 2.67 hours. Okay, so 2.67. 2.67 hours. If you've read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, then you'll know that you're supposed to prospect or lead generate for 3 hours a day. That looks pretty damn close, huh? Right? There's a link for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book below this video, and if you haven't read it, or if you want a copy of it, you should click that link and buy a copy of it. There's a bunch of other great books down there as well, but if you're a real estate agent, you need to read that book and refer to it like 10 times a year or more. So 2.67 hours per day. We're just going to round that up to 3. So you should spend 3 hours a day talking to people, prospecting or lead generating, we're going to call it, right? If you spend 3 hours a day talking to people and you're going to end up getting these appointments, you need to get 2 appointments per week. If you're getting 2 appointments per week, I always say an hour and a half per appointment is all you really need. Okay, if you're doing it right, it's an hour and a half. For you high eyes, like if you know about the DISC assessment, for you high eyes, you really need to be conscious of how long the appointment's taken. I had a buddy that was a high I, and he worked for me for a little while, and he went on this appointment one time. He came back like 3 hours later, and I'm like, dude, where have you been? And he said, oh man, I had this great listing appointment, it was awesome. And I said, oh, well, where's the paperwork? We didn't sign yet, I'm meeting her tomorrow. 3 hours of listing appointment and nothing signed. Now that's a high eyes love to talk to people, they love to chat. We got to be purposeful. In order to hit our numbers, we got to be purposeful. So you got to be conscious of how much time you're spending at that appointment, because you got other appointments to go to. You need to keep rolling, right? So an hour and a half per appointment, the way I calculate it is, it's going to take me 15 minutes to get there. It's going to take me an hour to go over everything and get everything signed, and then 15 minutes to get out and go to the next appointment. And then I have a little bit of leeway, right? Because if every appointment's got a little bit of leeway, then I can wiggle 15 minutes to a half hour if I have to. So we're going to say you're going on 2 appointments per week. So we got 3 hours per day. And we have 2 appointments per week. That's only 3 hours, okay? So 3 hours per week on appointments. Let's figure out what that looks like. 3 hours per day times 5 days a week is 15. We're going to work 50 hours a week. So 750 hours in a year calling people. We're going to call that calls or connections. And then 3 hours per week meeting people for 50 weeks. 150 hours per year at appointments. And we're going to look at, I want to show you, we're just going to look at listing appointments, working with sellers, because there's a lot of leverage in that, and I highly recommend working with sellers. If you're working with a seller, I'm going to tell you that it's going to take you maybe 8 to 16 hours worth of work to close a seller listing. Whereas a buyer listing might take you 40 to 60 hours to close that, because you're showing properties, and then they don't want to see properties for a week, and then you're going to show them like 9 hours of properties the next week, and they're hemming and hawing over something. They can't make a decision. They put an offer in, it falls through. You got to go look at something else because that property sold. Buyers are more labor intensive. We're going to look at just sellers, okay? So if we end up, you know, we said we had to work with 28 people. We had to have 28 people under contract. If those are all listings, I want to just look at, like, if it's going to take 8 hours per listing, that's 224 hours in a year for listings, working those listings. So if you look at appointments, prospecting, and working the deals, what else is there to do? Like, some agents come in and play on Facebook for 3 hours and say that they did something. You don't have, that's not something you need to do, all right? We're just looking at, these are the things that you need to be doing. If you focus on these, you don't need to do anything else. Nothing else. Okay? So we're going to add all this up. 224 hours plus 150 hours plus 750 hours. In a year, that's 1,124 hours. I'm going to divide that by our 50 weeks. That's 22 hours a week. 22.5 hours a week. 22 and a half hours a week working. Okay? Would you like to make $100,000 this year and only work 22 hours a week? I should hope that you said yes. If you said no, I should hope that you're saying, nah, I want to work 10 hours a week and make $100,000, because that's the mindset you need to have. Leverage, time leverage, doing the right stuff, focusing on the right thing is going to get you more dollars per hour. What does that amount to? If you net $100,000 and divide it by 1124 hours, that's $89 an hour. Would you like to get paid $89 an hour? This is one of the few fields that you can get paid that without a high school degree, even. High school diploma. Like you can have in Pennsylvania, you can have the GED or whatever it is. You don't even have to have graduated from high school. Just get a GED, get a real estate license, and then work on the right stuff. I hope that was helpful. If it was, subscribe to this channel for more stuff like this. Hit the bell notification so you get notified when we post new videos. Like this video, share it with your friends. Check out the links below. I'll see you again. Thank you so much.